Excuse me. Excuse me.
What's up, guys? Alright, so I am doing something different today, and I think that this is gonna be, let me take this off, make a lot of noise. I'm gonna be doing something different today, but I think this is gonna be the start of like me doing this a lot. I recently finally sat down and watched the Framing Britney Spears documentary. I had to like prepare myself for it because I knew it was gonna be triggering as fuck. And it was. I've already watched the whole thing, and I actually was rewatching it. I'm like halfway through, and I was writing down notes. I have a feeling that by the time this is over, I'm gonna have like literally a mini book of notes about this documentary because I'm so pissed. So I figured I'm just gonna start the video now. I'm gonna tell you guys my thoughts up until halfway through, and then I'll keep watching and then, you know, pause and give you guys my thoughts and do it that way, because honestly, this one right here, this one has a lot to unpack. All right. So let's just jump into it. So the first person I want to talk about, and you get introduced to her very early on, is Felicia Culotta. I don't think I wrote her name correctly. Felicia. She is a adorable human being. D'Angelo Wallace's like mini like little video about this, and he pretty much summed it up perfectly. She is like the most wholesome person in the entire documentary. She's the only person that you can 100% say, hey, like you're not a bad person. We find out pretty much that Felicia was her stand-in parent for the entire time that she was training in New York, pretty much, and then even past that when she was like touring and stuff. Like Felicia was there for her on a level of like being the stand-in parent. Like she was like her emotional support, and it seems like backbone. The next thing I want to talk about, which is like one of the first of many disturbing interviews we have to see Brittney go through in this documentary. It was in 1992. There was a clip. I guess she was on this talent show or something of that sort.
Most adorable, pretty eyes. You have a boyfriend?
No, sir.
Why not?
They're mean.
Boyfriends? You mean all boys are mean? I'm not mean. How about me?
Somebody call 911!
What the fuck? What? Somebody call the police! Call 911 right now! I'm actually like still shook from this. I don't think I'll never not be shook from this because this is disgusting. And to hear the crowd laugh that when he said that, just like I'm missing what's so funny about this. He could be her grandfather, her great-grandfather. It sets the tone for what Brittney pretty much has to experience, or how this documentary portrays what she's had to experience her entire career. Okay, so next we see Nancy Carson, and I believe that she's like she's the person, she was like one of Brittney's first agents in New York. She's the one who like got her out into New York and like convinced her parents to do what they had to do with it so that she could train in New York and stuff like that. She worked with Brittney when she was young, like when she was a child, and she seemed to be very focused on making sure her career blossomed, but she also, it seems like she was really hyper aware of Brittney as like a child and wanted her to just like be there, you know, be training, do what she had to do to succeed. But also it seems like she's the only person, I'm going to be honest with you, of all the agents that we've seen thus far in this documentary and all the people in her life that had a stake in her career, this lady, Nancy Carson, seems like the only person who actually spoke about Britney Spears as a child.
And we came up with a plan. Lynn and Brittney would come to New York for a period of time. Brittney could study voice in New York and study dance in New York and do some acting and audition. She was a funny, sweet, wonderful little girl. I loved her.
There's some things that some of the other people, and I wrote it down, like when they talk about Brittney, they don't talk about her as if she was a kid at the time. This is the only person that I've like literally heard her talk about Brittney as a child. It kind of reflects that she probably did treat her as such, like as a growing, blossoming child, that she just wanted to help hone in her abilities. The dad, the way they describe Jamie is that he was working all the time to provide because they came from like a very poor place. It seemed like he was kind of like upset a little bit about how expensive it was for her to be in New York, which makes sense. I'm not judging him for that. However, He was needing justification for all the work he was doing to make sure that they would survive in New York City. And that's a weird way to describe it, and those are very specific words. I don't think that I personally, or any parent that I know who is truly loving and caring over their child, I don't think that any of them or me would ever say, I need justification for feeding my child's creative spirit. You know what I'm saying? I understand that it was a lot of work. I do. They were poor. He was busting his ass so that they could like survive there. But to need justification for that, like as if your daughter getting the experiences she's getting the training that she's getting like the tools that she will need in the future isn't enough justification. This is a documentary, y'all. There are facts in here, obviously, but this is based off of like a certain bias. It's actually nuts that Britney Spears was auditioning so young. I mean, the life that she grew up with is very scary for a good part of the world, to be honest. To travel to the big bustling city, New York City, with you and your mom, and to be going to auditions, to be training constantly, and still doing schoolwork, because we forget sometimes, on top of all this, she's still going to school. So, and she's still learning, you know? It's a lot. Like, I'm just thinking about how young she was in that big ass city, y'all, with her mom, and sometimes her mom wasn't there. You have to have a sense of independence from a very young age to be able to do that and not break the fuck down. Throughout the whole documentary, especially when they're going through her as her like childhood life, it's weird because the agents that she's had in the past and the like her team, they don't really take accountability for how she was perceived before she had to control her own image. You know, they said that it was all her, and it's like, no. When she was coming of age, sure, but when she was younger, no, that was you. Right, Kim came in, right? I said that she straight up can't stand Britney's father because like it's very obvious in the thing. She's like, all I'm gonna say, and she said this, she said, all I'm gonna say about him is that all he said is that my daughter's gonna make so much money, she's gonna buy me a boat, which also alludes to him being obsessed with money more than anything else and having a very poor man's mentality. First of all, that's not your money, that's your daughter's money, but whatever, because I'm gonna get triggered and go off. She says something that actually really bothers me. Kim Kamen does.
You have to remember one really important thing. This is boy band time. This is not about girls. Girls don't sell. So it really was a phenomenon.
Let me explain why this really irked me, because I didn't realize why it bothered me. Like I heard it and I was like, okay, like I don't like the way that that sounds, but I had to think about why I don't like the way that sounds, and I figured it out. First of all, that's a motherfucking lie. Girls sell all the time. She said girls don't sell, and I said so you chose to sell sex instead, because in Kim's mind, and most of those people's minds in the entertainment industry then and even now, girls cannot sell to other girls as they are. They have to be sexualized to be seen as appealing. Do we have proof of that? Do we have proof of that? Last time I checked, Polly Pocket was selling out. There's so many girly things that were innocently girly that sold just motherfucking fine. So what do you mean girls don't sell, Kim? What do you mean? And people who had this thought process back then and still do now, they don't even realize what's wrong with it. But it was weird, like girls don't sell. And like immediately in my mind, I'm like, so you sold her as a sexual object. You sold her as a sexual object because you didn't believe she'd be marketable as a girl. It doesn't make any sense. Make it make sense. What? Oh. This is another interview that pops up.
You know, to many you are a contradiction. On the one hand, you're a sweet, innocent, virginal type. On the other hand, you're a sexy vamp in underwear.
I wouldn't say in underwear.
Why does innocent and virgin, why are they the same things to you? You can be innocent and not be a virgin. You can be a virgin and not be fucking innocent. I met a few. Are you dumb? This is what I wanted to ask all the interviews.
You're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
Are you dumb? Because it just seems so simplistic and dumb in low vibrational energy to ever think that anyone on this planet, any person, animal, living being, is supposed to be one thing their entire existence. Like this whole thing about people saying that, oh, either you're gonna be sweet or innocent or sexy and all this, you can't be both, is like, I'm mad, I'm furious, I'm angry for her, I'm angry for all the girls that were in this world, that are in this world, that will come into this world, because like, what the fuck? Are you stupid? Like, of course she's allowed to be more than one thing. We are constantly changing down to our smallest molecule. Why the fuck would she ever say the same as anything ever? Let me just calm down. I need some sage. And it makes me disgusted that this was happening to her then. It makes me disgusted that it's still happening now. Like, what? And the fact that she's in these interviews, there's another interview where this fucking guy brings up her breast.
Everyone's talking about it.
What?
Well, your breasts.
My breasts.
You seem to get furious when a talk show host comes up with this subject.
Once again, weird and predatory. Weird! Y'all are weird!
Hey guys, this is future Olivia. I later learned that Britney Spears was only 17 in this interview, so I'm just even more fucking disgusted. Like, literally find this man. Let's find him. Let's hunt this man down.
These interviews, y'all are fucking weird for that shit. Y'all, like, what? Why did you ask Britney Spears about her fucking breast?
It's gonna kick your ass.
The incredulous frustration I have going on right now within me, because in what context is that ever acceptable? Ever. Watching it in the interviews and seeing how she just had to take everything with stride and smile and laugh it off, the rage, y'all. I'm an Aries, so like, if you didn't know, I'm an Aries, so the fire. Once again, her agents, her manager, they didn't do shit to stop it though. They didn't do shit for these interviewers to stop it. Like what just happened in the news where Lindsay Lohan was on an interview with, I forgot what his name is, but he ain't shit either. He was making all these jokes about her in rehab and like really fucked up shit. Once again, making a mockery of mental health, even though we've lost so many beautiful people recently and in the past to their mental health and like their horrible environments, especially with Hollywood. And he got a lot of shit for it, and I hope he still is. The fact that her agents and her manager, they just let it happen because they thought it was normal. They probably thought it was good publicity, but no one stood up for her. She's a Sagittarius too. I don't know how the hell, let me tell you something. I don't know how the hell Britney Spears, a Sag, sat through these interviews and didn't tear these bitches apart, because there is not one Sagittarius I don't know that is quick with the comeback. Like it's just, their ancestors are just telling them shit to come back with all the time. Like them bitches got demons telling them, hey, tell them this, they're gonna cry at night when they go to sleep. Like Sagittarius have the quickest comeback I've ever seen. So I'm really, and they will read you. So the fact that she's a Sag and didn't say shit back is wild that she smiled through it. Like, I'm just saying, me as I am now would have popped off, but me as I was then would have stabbed a bitch. So she went through a lot of fucking shit, and it was constant. It was constant. She had no peace. None. I had a lot of flashbacks with this documentary and how she was getting attacked from every corner, because if it wasn't the whole, oh, she's a whore, she cheated on Justin, which we never got any, like, one, it's not our business. Two, we got no confirmation ever, not even once of that. And Justin Timberlake could have easily come out and like dismissed that whole situation and chose not to, even till this fucking day, chose not to. And I know that rumor has haunted her entire fucking career. It gave me flashbacks to what happened with Rihanna, what happened with Nicki Minaj, what happened to all of our favorite female artists, what's happening to Megan Thee Stallion, like how they're not allowed to be sexual without being attacked. When Rihanna went through something horrible with Chris Brown, you know, got beaten to a pulp and people blamed her. And as far as I'm concerned, I still think Chris Brown got off easy. That nigga should be in jail. Meg Thee Stallion got shot and people blamed Meg for it. Even with Nicki Minaj, she wasn't allowed to be in pop and rap at the same time. People in general are so multidimensional, but women are multidimensional, multifaceted. We have got layers and layers and layers of existence.
Brittney Spears has upset a lot of mothers in this country, starting with the wife of the governor of Maryland.
Really, if I had an opportunity to shoot Brittney Spears, I think I would.
Oh, that's horrible.
Well,
That's really bad.
Because of the example for kids and how hard it is to be a parent.
Well, that's really sad that she said that. Ew. I'm not here to, you know, babysit her.
You want to shoot her for, and I said this, for being a free and independent woman. You want to shoot her. Why do y'all go and find the most unsuspecting, beautiful spirit, talented, loving, caring, empathetic person and just blame her for all your problems? What the fuck did Britney Spears do to you, Kendall? What? Aside from give you bop after bop after bop after look after look after look after dance after twirl after, what did she do to you that hurt you? Child. She meets Kevin Federline. They get married, they have a kid, and all of a sudden everyone's calling her a bad parent because she rode in the front seat of a car with her baby.
You were photographed, I guess, by the paparazzi again, pursuing you. And there was Sean on your lap in the car.
Yeah.
Take me through what happened there.
I went to Starbucks and I see a bunch of photographers and I'm scared and I want to get out of the situation and my baby's crying. They're coming up on the, you know, the sides of the car, which is a scary situation for me, you know, and they're banging on the windows and that's not something I want my baby to, you know, so I get my baby out of the car and I go home. So, I mean, and I just feel like they're taking cheap shots.
It's stupid. Not because it wasn't dangerous, because it was, but of all the things to call someone a bad mother for, that is not it. You can see the stress on her face. I hate that she was pregnant with her second child and still dealing with the entire world, what felt like the entire world attacking her for something as stupid as riding in the front seat with her fucking baby because she was getting away from stalker, parasite paparazzis. I actually never knew that Brittney shaved her head off because she was tired of people touching her, and that breaks my fucking heart. She was harassed to the point where she was like, I'm cutting my hair off because someone yanked it, somebody tugged it. She was that harassed, that attacked, felt that unsafe that she cut her hair off. And you guys demonized her for it? Really? Really? You called her crazy for cutting her hair because people were harassing her, like physically, mentally, emotionally. You called her crazy for that, not the people doing what they did to her.
I never wanted to be considered a paparazzi. I've always wanted to be a filmmaker, but it sucks you right in, and it's hard to get out of it once you start making the kind of monies that these guys were making. In the beginning, when paparazzis were following Brittney, you could tell she enjoyed it. She would give up the shots, waving. She was very friendly, sweetheart of a girl. It was like she needed us and we needed her. We both needed each other. And it was a great kind of relationship.
He's a disgusting human being. We're talking about this guy because this is the guy that Brittney got out of the car and like beat his car with an umbrella. And like, even back then, I wasn't really that mad at her about it because paparazzi sounded like parasites then and they are now. And now I'm even more not mad at her because this is what the fuck he deserved.
She was with her cousin, Allie. I looked at Brittney from the windshield and I was videotaping her and I said, how are you doing? You doing okay? I'm concerned about you though, okay? We go back to Kevin Federline's house. She buzzes the door again. He doesn't open the gate. Well, now she's upset. To the car, I tell Brittney, hey, Brittney, all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna ask you a couple of questions and then I'm gonna leave you alone. And Allie's coming up to me and she's like, guys, please, please.
Please, guys. Yo, guys, please, guys.
And Brittney just grabbed the umbrella, started coming after me and starts beating the passenger side of my truck. That night was not a good night for her.
Oh wow, she did that too?
And it was not a good night for us.
Oh my God.
But it was a good night for us because it was a money shot.
And then it's like listening to the guy, he's deluded. There was no hiding it. He couldn't justify it. He was delusional. He told himself this at night so he could get to sleep. Because literally, how could you not hate yourself when you are directly responsible for the downfall of Britney Spears' mental health because you harassed this woman At her lowest moment, you harassed her. Like, look at what you fucking did to this girl for no reason other than money. Like, I'm just disgusted. Everyone who has come into Brittney's life has taken something from her, has gained something from her.
What do you think it'll take to get the paparazzi to leave you alone?
I don't know. I don't know.
Is that one of your biggest wishes?
Yeah. Do you think the paparazzi being around affected her at all?
I don't really think.
No. I know you don't think. Clearly.
And I don't really believe because, you know, working on her for so many years, she never gave a clue or information to us that I don't appreciate you guys. Leave me the F alone.
What about when she said, leave me alone?
There were times where she like, can you leave me alone for the day? But it wasn't like, leave me alone forever. You know what I mean?
You knew. You knew. You knew what you were doing when you did it. You knew what you were doing when you fucking decided to sell those pictures of her. You knew what you were doing every step of the fucking way. You made a conscious decision to attack this woman at every angle for your own personal gain. There is no way around it. There is no lies you can tell yourself. It is, you knew. You made that decision. And you'll have to live with it. I'm not wishing ill will on you, but karma's a bitch. All I'm gonna say, she was sitting there alone getting attacked by the world while in a custody battle, an ugly custody battle for her 2 children. And the whole world is attacking her, calling her fat, calling her crazy, calling her ugly, just laughing at her, using her as a punching bag. I just find it weird that even her management team could come onto this like documentary and make it seem like it wasn't them. But it's like, you didn't help her though. Like, you didn't stand up for her. Like, what the fuck are you then? What's the point of you being around?
She fired her longtime manager. She's grown very estranged from various members of her family.
More and more we've heard how she's very alienated, that she will try to befriend almost anyone. I mean, she's just desperately seeking friendship.
Sam Lutfi just sort of came out of nowhere. He's one of these self-invented guru types who is constantly attaching himself to celebrities, often at vulnerable moments for them. Sam was her sort of advisor, trying to be her manager.
How's Brittney doing?
So around this time, Jamie, Brittney's father, files for a temporary conservatorship over Brittney.
We hope the best for your daughter, sir.
Conservatorships are a unique legal arrangement, usually designed for elderly people who are unable to take care of themselves or their money. The court gives someone else special powers to make decisions for them. They file for a restraining order against Sam Lutfi. They allege in court documents that Lutfi had taken control of Brittney's life, her house, and her finances, and even had been drugging her.
This is when people in her so-called family step in. It's not when she's losing her children. It's not when her mental state is obviously declining. It's not when she really needs just someone to look at her as a human being and not as Britney Spears, a pop star. It's when somebody else comes in, takes advantage of her, starts taking her money and being fraudulent. That's when her dad steps in. She was so alone before then. Alone, which means she couldn't reach out to her father. She couldn't reach out to like her so-called family. The same family that she loves and cherishes and and she's been helping this whole time. He only cared after he realized that the money that they were making off of her was getting compromised.
I am a trial lawyer, and my practice is focused on conservatorships and battles over estates. Brittney's family law attorneys, and asked me if I would speak to Brittney because, well, the whole world knew that her father was trying to establish a conservatorship over her. And the first question I had was, does Brittney have the capacity to be able to hire me? Does she have the ability to take my advice? So the first thing is, Brittney was able to make the judgment, hey, I get what's going on. I get that I'm not going to be able to resist this conservatorship or avoid this conservatorship, right? So that's a pretty sound judgment. The second thing was, she said, I don't want my father to be the conservator. That was her one request. She wanted a professional, somebody independent.
And was she opposed to her dad as the conservator of the estate, the person, or both?
Both. Brittney did not want her father to be the conservator of her person, right? The person who makes decisions about her medical care and treatment and so on and so forth. She also didn't want him controlling her finances. When the judge told me, Mr. Streisand, I'm not going to let you represent her, I'm going to appoint somebody, I felt that was not the right decision by the judge. I felt that based on my interactions with Brittney, that she was capable of retaining me and directing me, and that the judge should have allowed that to happen.
I actually don't dislike him. I wish he could have done more for her, but I don't think that's his fault. There's nothing else he could have done for her, but it just sucks that you're hearing directly from, you know, the horse's mouth that she was more than competent and more than aware of what was going on.
According to court records, Brittney's conservators are able to control who can and cannot visit her and retain security guards for her 24 hours a day. They have the power to access her medical records and communicate with her doctors. They can take control of her house and even cancel her credit cards. They can make recording, touring, and TV deals for her and are deeply involved in her finances. There's some speculation that Brittney may have basically accepted the conservatorship because she was worried about seeing her kids. And a few weeks later, she starts to get some visitation rights restored.
They pretty much leveraged her kids for her freedom. You want a relationship with your kids? Then be a part of this conservatorship. Vivian Thoreen is a bitch. And I literally wrote that shit in my notes, like all caps.
My name is Vivian Lee Thoreen. I was involved as an attorney of record for the first few months of the conservatorship proceedings. Our client was Jamie Spears, Brittney's father. Having a conservator of the estate appointed for someone is that they are substantially unable to manage their financial affairs, or they are susceptible to undue influence or fraud. It's more than just, I can't balance my checkbook, it's, I could be duped into giving away my money. If there is a conservatorship proceeding and the proposed conservatee at some point consents, the conservatee can't wake up one morning and say, I don't need this, I don't want it, make it go away.
Have you ever known anyone who has terminated a conservatorship?
Of the cases that I've been involved in, I have not seen a conservatee who has successfully terminated a conservatorship.
Britney Spears' money is not just going to her own, you know, wants and needs. Like, she's not just paying for her own lawyer. She's paying indirectly, unfortunately, for her father's lawyer. Therefore, this bitch, who just said she's never been a part of any case that any conservative has ever escaped, just went back on her father's side and taking more of Britney's money. Like, she's profiting off of keeping Britney Spears under lock and key. And she just, it's like looking at a snake in the fucking eyes, like a bad one. I'm sorry, actually, snakes are cute. Not a cute snake, a bitch snake. I really don't believe someone who really needs a conservatorship would be able to do something like a Vegas show and do it so well. And have those consistently amazing reviews. Like, it's not something, a Vegas show doesn't go hand in hand with having to be under a conservatorship. It doesn't make any fucking sense. When you see the numbers of how much they make, it is the business of Britney Spears. That's what that conservatorship is. It's a business. The amount of money they make off of that girl makes no fucking sense. None at all. You know, this is all speculation. I don't know this for a fact, but I just got this feeling that everybody in Britney's family is taking from her account. And speaking of the fucking father, Kevin Federline has a restraining order against him because he put his hands on his son. Does that sound like somebody who should have conservatorship over someone like Britney Spears' career? No! They should have questioned his ability to be able to do what he's supposed to do for Britney. If you got to the point where you put your hands on a child, to get a restraining order, you have to have proof of it. So obviously there's some police documentation out there that proves, like, okay, no, he actually put his hands on his fucking grandson. And the last thing was the fact that the partner, the father's partner in the conservatorship called, because he stepped down, by the way. He stepped down from conservatorship after things got like more public and more people were paying attention to Brittney and like her situation. Before he left, he called Britney Spears a high-functioning conservatee. What the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? even this guy, Adam Streisand, was like, what the fuck does that even fucking mean? If you need a conservatorship, you are not high functioning. You are barely functioning. That is the point of someone coming into your life and having that much control over your life, is that you are barely functioning. If you're functioning on a normal level, you don't need a conservatorship. If you are high functioning, you sure as hell don't need a conservatorship. So what the fuck does that mean? You know, it's just so obvious. It's so obvious that she's getting, you know, abused and taken advantage of, and it's sad. I hope that she gets free from this conservatorship, and I just want her to be free to make her own decisions again. She's 39 years old, y'all. She's a mother of two. She's 39 years old. She is loaded. She's not a young girl anymore. She's not a teenager. And past that, she doesn't have the same amount of intense criticism and just like severe hate thrown at her the way she did at a young age. So I thoroughly and fully believe that she's in a completely different space now, mental space, clarity. Like, she doesn't have those same stressors that she had in the past. It's just disgusting how long this has gone on. It's disgusting how every person who had a fucking play in what has happened to her takes no accountability for it. It's disgusting. I hope that she finally gets to be able to stretch her wings and fly. I don't understand how the hell anyone could ever blame Brittney for what the fuck happened to her in that time. Because everybody and their fucking grandmother literally attacked her. If you like this, please like, subscribe, be my friend, be my homie. Please let me know if you enjoy me talking. Because I like to talk, but I don't want to talk y'all ear up unless you want me to. So, yeah, I'll catch y'all in the next one.
Excuse me. Excuse me.